It was one of those things where James did such a beautiful job of creating a family on and off screen. He brought us together, he built the start of this new DCU family, which we feel very honored to be a part of. And James also creates a family out of his sets wherever he goes. We got to be the new kids on the block in this very well-oiled machine that he's taken with him from project to project. And he brought such energy and passion and love for these characters and this material, and that trickled down. It just made us all want to come to work every day and keep doing better day after day. It was a blast, and I hope that shows on screen.
My favorite thing is when Superman saves the girl from the barrel, from the gas tanks being thrown at, the big slow motion shot. I love that shot. That's super cool.
My favorite thing, I think, was I got to see the film. And it made me feel like I did when I was like in the cinema when I was like 10 years old, having some of those like formative experiences with going to the theater to watch movies, where I was completely transported and it was magical, and it uplifted me in such a wonderful way that when I walked out of the film, I just felt so happy to be, sounds weird, but human and alive and surrounded by such wonderful people that we made the film with, but also to just go out and it inspires goodness. So I'm excited by what the movie represents, and I'm also excited to share the movie with like my kids and a new generation.
I don't know that it is, except insofar as they're technically the same person. I think one fun thing about our film is it doesn't really fully explore Clark Kent as a journalist. You certainly see some of Clark at the Daily Planet, and the question of him giving sort of softball interviews to Superman and writing very glowing pieces about him is, it brings up some ethical questions.
Journalistic integrity.
But in the comics, especially in All-Star Superman, there are all these great long sequences where Clark is Clark, and he's doing his reporting, and he's chasing down the stories and trying to exert a little bit of good influence in the world as the character of Clark. And it'd be really fun to get to explore that a little more in future films.
I think she's an everyday superhero. I think while Clark has super strength and heat vision and can fly, she has the power of the pen, and she has the ability to move the needle in the world that she lives in. I think one of the things I appreciate about James's take on this material is, and he expressed this to me very early on, that he was really interested in exploring Lois's power and necessity as a journalist, in recognizing the importance of a free and fair press, and somebody who will sometimes quite literally go to the ends of the earth for the things that she believes in. I think we all feel like that has always felt important, but perhaps never more important than right now.
I was very lucky where James had written a really dynamic, shaded character on the page, and that was what was exciting to me when first reading the script. I looked at it and I went, okay, even if you're not a comic book fan or particularly a Superman fan, you have this idea of what a villain is and the evil they portray, and Lex Luthor perhaps. So it was exciting for me to look at the blueprint of his script and talk to James about that, and then go back and research comics and the history of Lex and be like, okay, well, what else can we mine and learn here that we can add to this character to present something slightly different in this movie that still services the story. So that was something really enjoyable to develop with James. Yeah.
Kind of like working with a kid in not a candy shop, but like a comic book store or a toy shop. He has such love and joy and gratitude to be doing what he's doing, and he works so hard, but mostly because he loves it and he wants it to be good, and he gets such a kick out of all of the things that we get to do, the sets and the creatures and the props and the robots and the costumes. He just very often is lighting up with that boyish wonder And that energy is infectious and makes the whole process feel much more like making a movie with your friends in your backyard than working on, one of the biggest films of the year and, a tentpole blockbuster.
It was probably my first 2 days on set when we shot the interview scene together. It was a scene that we'd all lived with for quite some time at that point. It was a scene that, we auditioned with in our living rooms with our real life partners and then got to chemistry read with together, and then spent the next, what you said, about 8 months thinking about and talking about and trying to, it felt like it showed all the different colors of who these two characters were. And so not only was it a really fun way to dig into these characters and explore them so deeply over the course of those 2 days, but it was also so inspiring to watch James have a really clear vision for what the scene was to look like, but also to make space for us as actors, to make space for our thoughts and feelings about what was going on, and to try things. And I think that sense of wonder and joy, and also James being the hardest working person on set at any given moment, really inspires everybody else to keep raising the bar for themselves. And that was just the beginning. And so it was really exciting to be like shot out of a rocket on this journey.
One thing I loved about working with James, aside from just him being a brilliant writer that gives you really fun dialogue to play with, is his honesty. Fairly early on when we were rehearsing and stuff, I went and sat with him and spoke about the character and the scenes, and then we kind of went and did like a rehearsal, just him and I, so we could workshop some scenes and figure some stuff out for the character. And that was great, because I really felt in that moment that I was getting like honest, raw feedback that meant that we could push the character and develop it better and deliver what he wanted for the film. So that was a great thing, first of all, because I was like, okay, I trust this guy. I love his movies that he's made previously, but now I know he's like here with me and like really going to push me. And then also his warmth. There was a scene later on in the movie where we did something that was described in the stage directions, I suppose. And after we did the shot, and James came in with a big grin on his face and gave me a hug and was like, that was it, and like just really overjoyed with like, bringing what he's imagined to life, and how enthusiastic he is for that.
Hope.
Yeah, just inspired for goodness. Yeah.
That was 3 words.
3 words.
Not if I say it quick. Inspired for goodness. If I say it like that, inspired for goodness. 1 word.
Energy.
I began working on this script before I was the head of DC, so it was a while back, a few years ago. And I'd been just trying to figure out how I would tell a Superman story. And really the biggest inspiration for it was, I went back and reread a lot of my Superman comic books. And the ones that really spoke to me were Grant Morrison's and Frank Quitely's and Jamie Grant's All-Star Superman. And it wasn't that I wanted to tell that story, but the vibe of it seemed very much like the Superman movie I'd like to put on screens. It feels relieving today because people like the movie, and that's cool, and so it feels like a relief, and I'm ready to take a nap. Well, I think that this is a story, that on the outside is a story of Lex Luthor and Superman, and how Lex wants to bring down Superman for his own reasons. But in an interior way, it's about Superman having certain beliefs about himself, confronting those beliefs and learning things about himself he didn't know, and then trying to deal with that information. So it's a personal journey in that way. Well, David is just, listen, David was one of the first people who auditioned, and I was so grateful because he's got the acting chops, he's got the comedy chops, he's able to deliver the fast-paced dialogue as I add it, and of course he looks a heck of a lot like Superman, and he's able to do a lot of the, more athletic stuff that it takes, because we have him hung up in all these crazy rigs for the stunts. So there's just not too many people that check all those boxes, if any in the world, besides David Corenswet, so I knew he was Superman. Well, I think that it's important, all my characters are important in being full-fledged, characters and people. And for Lois, this needed to be somebody that Superman was in love with, head over heels in love with. And so she needed to be as powerful as he was in a different way. And that's what that's the way she was written, and also that's what Rachel brings to the role. I mean, you see them talking. He's on his back foot a lot because she's just a force of nature. And I think that was really important, that the relationship was something that was equal, was an equal relationship. Villains are always rough because villains, you gotta hate them, but at the same time you want to believe what their stories are. And I think that's what, Nick brought so beautifully to this role. I think this is really Lex Luthor. It's one of the things I'm proudest of in the whole movie. Because Lex is what Lex really is at his best moments in the comics. He's a guy who's driven by jealousy and envy so much that he's rationalized himself into believing that he's saving humanity because of what he's doing, and that his jealousy is almost like a calling. I think that you go into this movie and you want to be Superman. He's powerful, he flies, he's strong, he's a superhero. And then you watch the movie and you see, what does Superman want? He wants to be us. He wants to be able to connect to other people, to feel loved and feel like he loves someone else, to not be alone. And so I would hope that we would go out of the theater and just feel a little bit more grateful to be ourselves and find that Superman in us. It feels good. I think, for me, I make movies because I like making movies, and making this movie was one of the best experiences I've ever had. I enjoyed filming it, I enjoyed editing it, I enjoyed writing it, and I enjoyed the collaboration with all of the artists around me, whether it was the actors or the department heads that helped to create this movie with me and then believed in my vision enough to put themselves into that. So this has been a remarkable journey, and the fact that people are enjoying the film is just the icing on the cake. Really.
It's just, it feels like a relief because for a year and a half, it's just been building up anticipation and excitement. And I'm like, I want people to finally see it because everybody in my life is like, that's amazing, Superman, have you seen it? I can't wait to see it for like a year now. So I'm just like, I cannot wait for people to be able to actually talk about it instead of just talking what it's going to be like.
Oh,
Wendell.
I think
Definitely.
Yeah. That's why I'm the boss. And I have a huge capacity of curiosity and wanting to change the world and exercising my right of self-determination and having an impact on the world is important to me and important to my character too. So, yeah, I'm the one that I think I would be the best journalist.
Absolutely. Yeah, Wendell knows everything.
Yeah.
Like, he is a wealth of knowledge. Yeah.
James, I think he just had a take on Jimmy that was so funny and kind of new. And the thing that he said to me from the beginning, which was so exciting, he just would basically say, "You are Jimmy, so whatever you do, that's it. That's Jimmy. And if you ever veer too far, he'll bring you back because he has so much respect for the material and such a knowledge of the history of the material." So I think that he, like when I first got the role, my initial instinct was to deep dive into all the research and see everything. And as I was getting deeper into it, I was just kind of freaking out, just like the sense of responsibility and the burden. And I was like, I think I can't. I don't think I can. And James was kind of the biggest advocate of like, yeah, don't get in your own way. Don't get in your head. And it easily could have felt stepping onto a set like this, like the stakes are so high, it could have felt very scary, and it didn't. It felt very free, I think, for all of us. And we had a blast. James was the biggest fan of us riffing and kind of finding stuff on the day, and he just sort of likes to play once we're doing things. So it was a blast.
I'm gonna go with football. Yeah, I'm gonna go with football. Is that works, right? Strength, speed. He's just gonna go right into the end zone every time. You know what I mean? Yeah, just fly right over him, pop it right in, and just that would make the most sense, I think.
Well, he realizes what a threat change has been to the newspaper industry, and that media has to change, and that he has to be amorphic and ever-changing and flexible, and that there are so many different platforms that journalism has to be a part of. And if you don't change and evolve, that the paper will die. And that is a sense of desperation on his part to make sure that he stays viable, and that not only the business is viable, but that the craft of journalism is viable as well. Because in the time of ever-changing politics and dangers, the absolute truth of journalism becomes the one sword to really fight the true battles with. You know, we are soldiers without swords, but we are warriors when it comes to authenticity and truth, knowing that is the ultimate power that we have, and that's important to him.
I think that Kat is a little jealous of her. I mean, she always wants to be the center of attention, and every guy's she wants to lust over her. So I think she's a little jealous, but she's also the first to get on that, and she might ship them. Who knows? We'll see. It was amazing. The spacecraft?
Yes.
The spacecraft was so cool. I mean, it was cool, but it was also so scary. We went into the spacecraft. Nobody gave us any real knowledge of what was going to happen. And so we really thought, like, oh God, what if this just like drops? And it did. I mean, we were all a little freaked.
We're like 50 feet in the air, and all of a sudden, it tilts forward and tilts to the right, and also all the reactions to
are
the
real.
Are real in real time, because we did not know if we were about to take off.
Yes, I was like, is this how my legacy is going to be in the spacecraft? This is it?
And I mean, I don't know what I should or should not give away about the spacecraft, but some of us were more secure than others. So they had it easy. I mean, compared to some of us, I won't say who or what.
Yeah.
Right. There weren't enough chairs for everyone.
Yeah.
But we brought everyone along.
The hope that it brings them, and the excitement, and knowing or feeling that all of us are in this life together. No, we shouldn't be fighting the way that we're fighting. We're all together in this life.
This movie has a huge capacity for joy. And sometimes we forget that in our hearts, really, there's a battle between pain and joy, joy and pain. But there's only room for one, really. And that's something that we have to decide which we choose to fill our hearts with, right? The anger, the pain, the joy, the optimism, the care and love of self and others, you know? How do you choose to live your life, you know? And you see this film and you say, I'm gonna choose the joy, because it has a huge capacity for joy.
I think that Kat is a little jealous of her. I mean, she always wants to be the center of attention, and every guy's she wants to lust over her. So I think she's a little jealous, but she's also the first to get on that, and she might ship them. Who knows? We'll see. It was amazing. The spacecraft?
Yes.
The spacecraft was so cool. I mean, it was cool, but it was also so scary. We went into the spacecraft. Nobody gave us any real knowledge of what was going to happen. And so we really thought, like, oh God, what if this just like drops? And it did. I mean, we were all a little freaked.
We're like 50 feet in the air, and all of a sudden, it tilts forward and tilts to the right, and also all the reactions to
are
the
real.
Are real in real time, because we did not know we were about to take off.
Yes, I was like, is this how my legacy is gonna be in the spacecraft? This is it?
And I mean, I don't know what I should or should not give away about the spacecraft, but some of us were more secure than others. So they had it easy. I mean, compared to some of us, I won't say who or what.
Yeah.
Right. There weren't enough chairs for everyone.
Yeah.
But we brought everyone along.
The hope that it brings them and the excitement and knowing or feeling that all of us are in this life together. No, we shouldn't be fighting the way that we're fighting. We're all together in this life.
This movie has a huge capacity for joy. And sometimes we forget that in our hearts, really, there's a battle between pain and joy, joy and pain. But there's only room for one, really. And that's something that we have to decide which we choose to fill our hearts with, right? The anger, the pain, the joy, the optimism, the care and love of self and others, you know? How do you choose to live your life, you know? And you see this film and you say, I'm gonna choose the joy, because it has a huge capacity for joy.
Long time coming, right? I mean, I don't know when you guys, I actually do know when you guys found out when you got your job.
Because you
I
were
don't know
right
when,
there.
Anthony, I don't know when you found out you were in this movie.
Don't put me on the spot with that. I do not know the day or the week, but I do remember the elation, the sense of elation when I was like, what? Oh my God, I'm gonna be in Superman. This is nuts.
I knew when you got the job on the same day.
You knew when I got the job before I knew that I got the job.
I knew
Yeah.
that you knew that I knew that you didn't know, but did I give it away?
Yes, you gave it away.
What?
You said, I will see you soon.
I'll see
I
you
went,
soon
but
instead
I
of
didn't-
like
I
see
didn't
you
register
later.
that. Yeah, instead of see you later. But I didn't register that until they told me, and I went, that's what that was the best.
You put it together.
And then I put it together.
But I knew I had this job at the end of Guardians 3.
That's right.
At the premiere of Guardians 3.
Wait, what?
Yeah. That's when I found out. At the premiere of Guardians 3, that's when James and Peter told me I'd be Guy Gardner.
That's a great day.
It was a great
That's a great day right there.
Yeah, it was a lot to celebrate that
had to
day.
hold it
So for
in.
me, it's been a long time.
Wow.
So it's about time. And, oh man, this is the first time I've seen a movie before the premiere. I've seen it now, and the premiere, the world premiere, we're coming up to it, and I've already seen it. This is the first, so I've been able to absorb it, and I know people are gonna love it. I know they are. What's fantastic is James. Nothing changes about James except for the scope of his projects. To be honest, just I think more people understand what I came to understand many years ago on a little movie called Slither. That he is really good at his job. He loves to tell stories, and he's just passionate about projects and being true to the project. And his heart is always in the right place, and he knows how to make us feel something. And I think that's. If I walk away from a film, a television show, and I have felt something, be it negative, be it sad, be it angry, but if it's made me feel, I'd consider that a successful project.
I got a really nice question yesterday, and it made me think about how I relate to Hawk Girl in the sense that I growing up in this industry to an extent, I wasn't always successful. It's been a slow ride up to where I am now. But I've always been surrounded by a corporate world, even as a young woman, and a bunch of dudes usually, hello. So it was really interesting to portray a different version of myself had I probably been a pessimist, right? And a little bit unafraid to show maybe my distaste or my discomfort, or, she's just like a sassier, more stubborn version of myself in this world where normally a younger woman would probably be intimidated and uncomfortable. I really like and admire how she handles herself, and I'm really curious to see how it evolves, seeing this new world being established and whatnot.
It's his code of ethics. I mean, his superpower is his brain, but it's not just his brain, it's what he decides that he does with it. He is haunted by a trauma, losing his wife and his unborn child. And instead of having that define the rest of his life, it fuels his brilliance.
Well, I think he's certainly a complicated character. I mean, visually, for sure. But I think, the thing that I really attached to from the get-go, that I got from the comic books is basically just how he feels about himself and this kind of deep shame that he carries in terms of what he feels he's cursed with, right? You can look on the outside and think like, oh, he's so powerful, almost godlike in his power, but he feels, cursed by it. And just on a personal level, I mean, through my alopecia stuff, I always felt similarly kind of that way and held a lot of that shame. So I could really kind of latch on to that about the character. And and so whenever you get that as an actor, it's really, quite cathartic.
You have to be very, very talented to do what he does. You also have to have incredible business acumen to do what he does. It's two very different talents. Empathy, I think might be, because he knows how to reach people through feelings. Mm-hmm. He knows how to get you to feel something. He's not manipulating you. He's almost enticing your heart to. He's a heart squeezer.
Heart squeezer.
Yeah. Crypto.
Sequel.
Sure.
Sequel, for sure.
When are we going to see it again?
Superman wears trunks. And I think, you know what? I think this is something I've been thinking about a lot, you guys. David's Clark Kent is far more sincere, I think, than any Clark Kent we've seen. Both his Clark and his Superman are real people. They're not caricatures of something. They're not a put-on commentary of humanity as somebody else might see it from a superior thing. It's sincere, it's realistic, and it's a heartfelt Clark Kent, I feel. Did I mention the Justice Gang?
They're gonna, nonstop Justice Gang talk.
We're those four sexy people.
Bowl cuts. Bowl cuts are coming back.
Yeah. Bowl cuts and red undies on the outside of your tights.
Ooh, so many things.
So many things. I loved going to Svalbard. Mm-hmm. That was incredible. Almost felt like a little vacation.
Absolutely.
And I loved seeing the sets, because they actually built sets like the Fortress of Solitude. For me, I was just like, you guys should keep this set, put it in some
museum
or park, or just make it a Superman ride or something.
Yeah.
What about you?
For me, it definitely was the action sequences and everything that I got to do. I had no abilities whatsoever in that area, and I trained for the longest time, and I got to be really, really close with the stunt team, and I admire them so much now, and I feel so much respect for stunts, and I feel so much gratitude, and that was fun. I faced so many fears. I had huge fear of heights, and I had to take off and fly and all of that. And the first time I did it, nobody knew I was really scared but my stunt double.
Oh.
And when I took off really quickly, and they told me, Gabby, are you okay? It was a test. I was like, I'm great. I could not feel my legs.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but now I'm
You're like, I'm okay.
But now I'm okay, and it's so cool.
So I play Eve Tessmacher. I'm Lex Luthor's girlfriend, and I'm just fun and love taking selfies for the gram. And I'm just, I'm excited about literally everything, because everything's just so new to me. My handsome, powerful boyfriend takes me to all these cool places, and I get to be there, and there's a little bit more than meets the eye.
She has a little bit of an all-access backstage pass.
Exactly. She gets to see everything, what happens, and she gets to decide for herself if she's okay with it or not.
So Angela is a former special ops, and she works for Lex Luthor, and she truly believes in Lex's vision for the world. She is somebody that's deeply affected by the way, the world acts and the path that humanity has taken, and she feels that she has to do something about it. So she really just sacrifices her life for the greater good or what she believes. And she's somebody that's extremely capable before she became a metahuman, and now she's, you know, half machine and half human. I feel like it's that battle between those two inside of her, the human that has a conscience and that knows right from wrong, and then the machine that is more and more powerful the more she exercises those powers. And that was so interesting to be able to try to bring it to my body. How would that feel like?
I actually remember when I first saw him bald, and I was like, oh my God, like this is the most perfect casting. You know, I think my favorite thing is, and it just tells about like his capability as an actor and his talent, is that he couldn't be more opposite of Lex, because he's the nicest, like shy, like guy, and then he just in front of you, he just became this like mean boss, like, and you're like, where's Nick, you know? And yeah, I mean, he's just incredible as Lex, and he really brings that power and like mean, but still like doing this like alpha male kind of character. I mean, he's such an incredible actor, and you can really see it, especially if you know him in real life. You'll be like, wow.
To me, Nicholas is the perfect Lex because he brings humanity to the character. He's not just an evil guy. He has reasons, and he makes you believe in them, and you feel for him, you know? I feel like I, as an audience member, I understand his journey, and I understand his reasons for doing what he does, and that's very interesting. That's a great, you know, enemy for Superman, because you're like, of course, Superman is our hero, and he will always be, but I get you, you know? And it's that humanity that I think makes a great actor. James, James is truly fantastic. I feel like for me, and I keep saying it, he freed me from my own thoughts, and he made me a better actor and a better colleague by letting me be myself. You know, he's a person that has no facade. He does not like people hiding, you know, behind masks, and that's so free. And he loves to curse. He's like really inappropriate, and so am I. And I didn't know that was allowed, you know, and I see him being that way. I'm being so friendly at the same time and so open, and I'm like, okay, I'm good. I can be myself, and I think that's the greatest gift like you can give somebody.
Yeah, I mean, James is like the best at what he does, and you can really see by the people that he surrounds himself with on set, and you know, he has like a no assholes policy, and even like in the cast, everyone is just so nice, and you could have easily become like egos, but everyone is just so incredible and good at their job and nice. They're nice people. And it almost feels like you're filming an indie movie, because he's been working with most of the crew for years. So they really know each other, and they really work. It's like this incredible, well-oiled machine that it's just like, and I love that it's always on time. Like there's like barely any delays, and it's, and on top of that, it's just so fun to work with him, you know? He gives you so much liberty that you almost don't need, because his writing is incredible, but, you know, he'll be with his microphone, I'll be like, okay, now say this, and then you'll hear him laughing, and it's just, you're like, okay, like you made James laugh, and he became like, oh, great. You're like, ah. So it's just really so fun, and he's just so collaborative, and yeah, it's just been like such a pleasure, yeah. I think they're gonna have an out-of-body experience.
I think they're gonna feel proud and happy and hopeful. That they're gonna feel hope for humanity.
They're gonna feel like they're watching a comic book come to screen. Because that's how I felt. I felt like, oh my God, it's like I'm reading, but I'm actually watching. So it really felt like a comic book coming to life. But I think they're gonna be happy and hopeful, and they're gonna tear a little bit, and there's tons of action and heart, and it's great. Yeah.
you.